Here's my review of Star Wars Rebellion. First off, the good. Unlike the previously reviewed War of the Ring, the characters here all have thematically appropriate skills that you'll use to tackle missions and further your faction's cause. The board itself is a work of art. The graphic design of the cards is unparalleled, and despite their small scale, the miniatures are both ludicrously detailed and sturdy. The turn-by-turn actions of the game and the win conditions for both factions perfectly mirror the films. The Imperials are constantly putting out fires while also trying to hunt down and eradicate what they see as a secret breeding ground for vermin. The Rebellion, meanwhile, must keep to the shadows and use diplomatic wrangling and guerrilla tactics to generate enough of a groundswell to ignite an epic revolution. The fact that the iconic characters of the saga drive this mechanic is particularly apropos. Also, like War of the Ring, the game's narrative unspools organically, but also in some very surprising and cinematic ways. On one turn, the Imperials will boil in frustration as they try and combat a wraith-like enemy, and later feel a heady power rush as their Death Star reduces an entire planet to slag. After experiencing a brief respite of triumph after blowing up an Imperial superweapon, the rebels might be sweating bullets a few turns later as the Executor drifts perilously close to their hidden fortress. Whatever happens, you're always engaged. Full disclosure, this review assumes the use of the Rise of the Empire expansion, which improves the game in many ways, but combat in particular. In the core game, you'd pick up space or ground tactics cards based on your leader's matching value, and then eventually settle on one of the bland options. Thanks to the expansion, you have full access to your entire tactics deck, and you can cherry-pick whatever card you want to play. You'd think this would actually slow things down, but quite often you'll table the card that just dovetails with the predominant unit you have in the battle. Throw in some rerolls based on your leader's appropriate tactic value, and now you've got a combat system that's insanely lethal and, in turn, a hell of a lot quicker to resolve. On the surface, the game isn't particularly complicated. You just assign one of your leaders to missions and drop them on the board to move your units around. As for the meh, I may be the only person on the planet that doesn't really like Rogue One all that much, and I really wish its content wasn't present in my OG Star Wars game. Now, an Andor expansion, on the other hand, that would be money. As for the ugly, although you can technically start playing the game based on a quick skim of the Learn to Play guide, that book is so sketchy that you'll miss out on important details, leading to a slew of assumptions and micro-errors that'll likely poison your first game or two. For example, the rules governing leaders and missions/system activations, loyalty and subjugation, as well as movement in and around the rebel base are enough to give even veteran gamers a migraine. Sadly, if you want to play this thing properly, you really need to read the rules reference from cover to cover, which is about as exciting as perusing the Death Star's insurance policy. But just because I love you guys, I recently threw myself on the old thermal detonator and summarized all of the trixiest minutiae right here on my blog. Between that and my 3-round example of play, I hope that these resources will give you the confidence to table your copy of this incredible game more often. Overall, Star Wars Rebellion exhibits the sort of board game design evolution that didn't even exist in the hobby back when the IP was at its zenith between 1977 and 1983. Heck, it wasn't even possible in the late 90s. Play this and you'll feel like you're unspooling an alternate history of the original Star Wars saga. Like War of the Ring, it's a bona fide miracle that we exist in a timeline where this game was created, and it's as good as it is. As such, Star Wars Rebellion, with the Rise of the Empire expansion included, scores a perfect 6 pips out of 6. Thanks for watching, and remember, do or do not learn these rules. There is no try. And game on.